to Philly Fame TV once again. Thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate everybody that's been supporting the channel. If this your first time tapping in, make sure y'all like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Today we going, touch on, this Poundside Pop, Meek Mill situation. That also, intertwined with the whole Quilly and Dean situation as well. So we're going to briefly touch on all that since it's big news in the city. It's the big topic a lot of people been talking about since the Poundside Pop interview dropped. And then Meek and Poundside been going back and forth on social media like pretty crazy, you know what I mean? So it's a lot of talk going on. So, I'm just going to briefly break it down, from my perspective and also give my opinion on the whole situation. So I ain't gonna be too long-winded in the whole breakdown, but I'm definitely gonna give y'all some, some backstory and history on the whole situation from my point of view. So without further ado, we're gonna get right into it. So a little bit about Poundside Pops and for the people who ain't really too familiar and just finding out about him because of this whole situation with Meek Mill. Poundside Pop from North Philly, and a lot of people heard of him who was paying attention to that area. He had a song back in the day, but prior to that, I said back in the day, it was like 6-7 years ago now. But prior to that, he was hanging with a guy named Trap Street Sadi, who was rapping in the city. He had a little wave, he was carrying that Trap Street stamp. Trap Street had a movement back in the day down north, I believe down like Cumberland area, 16th Street, around that area if I ain't mistaken. And they had a movement. A guy named Trap Street Mo used to rap, and I believe they had another guy named MA2G. They had a big little team. It was a lot of them. They had a movement. So I'm assuming that Sadi was like the new generation of that, carrying on that flag. And Pop was his homie. They was real cool, real tight. And Sadi ended up getting killed, unfortunately. And I didn't hear Sadi when he was rapping. Like I said, he was young, he was doing this thing, but he ain't really was on my radar. But when he died, I see like he had a whole lot of love in the city. Like all these people was posting about him. That's when I came to learn more about him and who he was and all that. And he had, a funeral. I think they had the horse and carriage drawn, chariot drawn, bring him through, and all that. So he had a crazy impact on the city. And a lot of young rappers in the city used to shout him out, and rep him and all that. So that's kind of how the whole Zoo Gang situation came about, because from my understanding, Sadi, one of his nicknames was Zoo. They used to call him Zoo. So once he died, they named, that neighborhood or several neighborhoods in North, or several blocks in North Zoo Gang. So, Poundside, he from 25th Street, I believe, like 25th and Master, if I ain't mistaken, around that area. So that's where the Pound come from, the Poundside 5. And some other rappers that he was cool with from that area, like Mamba Cinco 5. Another one, Zai Sosa, they all cool and they was rocking together and all that. And there's a lot of rappers from that area too, like that's an area, a lot of rappers. I believe Fat G's from around that area, if I ain't mistaken. From Headshot Days, I think Magic and Still, was repping that area too. A couple other people too, a lot of people like. And then Meek from 23rd and Bricks, which is a couple blocks away, Poundside, 25th Street. And Meek from north side, you from South Philly too, but the north side was 23rd Street. So they're a couple blocks apart, even though they two different generations, but they know some of the same people. They from pretty much the same area. So like I said, fast forward to 2017, Poundside Pop had the banger, the local hit single, I should say, on OSS on some Shit Boy. It's over like 2.5 million views on YouTube, I believe, up to this point. And he was getting that joint spun on already on all that. So he had a little wave from that joint. Nice little wave. That was a nice little banger. And then at some point in time, he came on Meek radar. You know, I don't know if it was that same year, 2017, or maybe the following year, but you know, at some point in time, you know, Meek embraced him, showed him love, brought him around him. Poundside Pop told a story about him going to a mansion party with Meek and all that, having him in a mix and shit like that, showing him love. He had a good rapport. And then, according to Poundside Pop, the beginning of their fallout came when Meek tried to sign him. You know, when he tried to sign him, according to Poundside Pop, he tried to sign him for $20,000. And you know, he said you know, the terms of the contract, not just the $20,000 he didn't like, but he said the terms of the contract he wasn't feeling either. I'm like, you know, I'm assuming it was a 360 deal because that's kind of like industry standard these days. Even big time, big name artists, you know, a lot of them had to sign 360 deals. That's just the typical nature of it. So I'm assuming that's what he offered him, and then he wasn't feeling the money or the contract. And according to him, one of the things he said in the interview was he didn't reach out to Meek after that. He never spoke after that. He just felt some type of way about it and went his way. But I believe when Meek addressed it, I don't know if it was on Twitter, Instagram, or something, or it might have been an interview. I'm not mistaken, but I believe he addressed this. I don't know if it was directly or indirectly, but he spoke about the deal. And he said, you know, it was more than just 20K. I believe 20K probably was just for the pocket. But he was going to invest into the recording budget and the marketing budget and all of that. So he had money that was going to go to that. But the 20K probably was just for the pocket. So I'm assuming that's what he was talking about when he was talking about that. So they had two different perspectives, two different viewpoints on it. But at that point, from that moment, according to Pop, you know, they wasn't saying eye to eye from that. And they never spoke of nothing of that. So then fast forward some time had passed, and you know, Meek had ended up, I don't know what he was going through or dealing with at the time, but he was on, you know, he been on his Twitter joint, you know, that's what he do. So he go on Twitter whenever he got something on his mind, he want to get off his chest, he go on Twitter, you know, and let it be known. So one of the things he did at this time was he put a tweet out there. He wasn't really addressing it to nobody specifically, but in a series of tweets, one of the tweets he said something along the lines of people gotta start picking sides or something like that. And Poundside jumped out there, and he recently admitted that he just jumped out there out the blue. He ain't know if Meek was talking to him or not, but he just jumped out there and said to Meek, basically telling him that he gotta pick a side. And then he was asking Meek pretty much, is you Zoo or not? I mean, I'm just summarizing, you know, they was going back and forth. I'm just summarizing what they was saying. And when their Meek response, he basically saying, like, I ain't in no Zoo gang, I'm from Catherine Street, or I'm from 18th and Catherine. I mean, referencing South Philly, whereas though, you know, Zoo gang is North Philly, for those who ain't familiar. Like, Zoo gang is, you know, based in North Philly. So Meek basically saying, I'm not from the Zoo, I'm from South Philly. So once Meek said that, you know, that was real controversial, because a lot of people felt like he was disowning North, and he just only claiming South Philly and all that, when, you know, when that came about, and that kind of had people picking sides at that point. So it was kind of, you know, a situation in the city, but that pretty much solidified and publicized their issues and them not being on the same accord anymore. And now they got official beef, you know what I mean, so to speak. And it kind of was a weird dynamic too, because at this time, I believe, you know, Diamond Street King was, you know, being co-signed and stamped by Meek at this time when they was going through, when him and Poundside was going through it. And Diamond Street is cool with Poundside. He affiliated with Zoo Gang and all that. He from North, so I believe he was cool with Sadie and all that. So, you know, they got their relationship with Poundside and all that. So when Meek going through with Poundside, I know that kind of put, you know, Diamond Street King in a little awkward spot too, you know what I mean? And even to this day, it's still, you know, Diamond Street King still affiliated with DC and all that. So with Meek going through a Poundside, I know that kind of put him in a crazy spot, even to this day, because he's still, I mean, he's still in the same boat where he cool on both sides. So, you know, after the initial situation where Poundside asked him was he Zoo or not, and they had their back and forth and all that, he had ended up on Vlad TV shortly after that. Now, it's a little different than the Akademiks situation, because Vlad ain't beefing with Meek, so he wasn't, targeting him for that. But in that way, but he definitely was featuring Poundside because of his situation with Meek, and Meek responding and then making it a big situation. So now he on Vlad TV and he talking about the situation on there. You know what I mean? So that was one of the early situations with them going through it, and Poundside publicizing it on the big platform like Vlad TV and all that. Fast forward, the situation kind of died down after that. I mean, as far as on a public platform type situation, but I believe as far as that, they still ain't rocking with each other, still ain't talking, they still ain't squashed and none of that. They just not beefing online like they was before. And another little situation that came from, social media and Meek Mill, putting his thoughts out there, tweeting it. I think it was Twitter, I believe it might have been Instagram, but I believe it might have been Twitter. Where he had said, he wanted to get some people from Philly signed, but he wanted them to squash the beefs and all that. And he was hearing about the bodies and stuff that's going on. He wanted the people to put that stuff behind them and, pretty much squash the beef so he can get people deals and stuff like that. And a lot of them young boys had a problem with, with him saying that. And, Poundside Pop being one of them. He probably felt like Meek was talking about him, or he one of the people Meek might have been talking about. He took issue with that. So that's one of the things that he addressed, during the Akademiks interview, as well as the other things he was talking about. Fast forward a couple years go by. So this was towards the end of 2023, I believe. Next thing you know, Meek Mill started going crazy on Trippie Redd on his Instagram story, I believe, telling him he banned from the city, and he this dude a sucker, clown, all type of stuff like that towards Trippie Redd, posting his pictures and then going in on him on the comments, like commenting stuff about him on top of the pictures on the stories. And a lot of people was confused and didn't know where that came from. Like, Trippie Redd, they ain't never seen him really cry. Like, why me going in on Trippie Redd? And a lot of people speculating that, because Trippie Redd got a relationship with Poundside Pop, and maybe Trippie Redd might have been sneak dissing Meek with Poundside or something like that. Or he might have just, whatever the case may be, it just had something to do with Trippie Redd association with Poundside Pop, and then Meek started snapping on Trippie Redd. Like, so then that's one of the things that was spoke on in the interview he just did with Ak, was he basically said, because, Trippie Redd cool with me, or he promoting me or whatever, and now Meek was going in on him pretty much. Like, so now, fast forward a little bit of time, a little couple months or whatever passed. And next thing you know, Dean start, going live and talking about Meek, and he basically was saying like he's doing this to try to clear his name, because him and Meek fell out because Meek said he robbed his crib, he stole something out of his house or something like that. And Meek was basically calling Dean a slime ball and bad mouthing him and stuff like that. And Dean was explaining how Meek bad mouthing him is affecting him today, his current business dealings, and affecting him from, moving forward and progressing in that way. So now Dean going live and going on his Instagram and talking crazy about Meek and going in on him, and Meek joining the live and going at Dean and saying little stuff. So now they going back and forth. So that sparked the whole situation. Now that kind of slowed down and died down for a second. Then, next thing shortly after, I might be getting a timeline slightly off with saying a couple months and all of that, because I don't remember the exact time frame, but between this time frame and this next situation, I ain't exact sure if it's a couple months or whatever, but X started beefing with Meek. That's all, the timeline might be not exact, but it's all, pretty much around the same time when I'm saying a couple months. So a couple months after the Dean thing, Meek started beefing with Ak. Now, a situation come about, they had a long history of going back and forth. you know, prior to this, and at some point in time they called the truce. 21 Savage, you know, he cool with Act, cool with Meek. He got them on the phone. They talked it out, and they ended up stopping, going at each other. So Act pretty much wasn't, you know, going at Meek anymore in his videos. I mean, Meek wasn't really saying too much about Act. And then, you know, in recent time, Act had a situation with his girlfriend. Know what I mean, where it became a public situation, and some stuff had happened, and some videos came out from Act house and his stream, and you hear a girl screaming in the background, and Meek had posted it, I think, on Twitter, and his caption was, I'm like, yo, this gotta be fake, or this gotta be AI, or something like that. And Act kind of took it like Meek was taking a shot at him, saying that Act ain't really like that. So they still had a truce going, but I know Act had some bad energy towards Meek for that. You know what I mean, he felt like Meek was trying to play him. And so now when this lawsuit thing come out with the guy Lil Rod trying to sue Diddy and all that, and then he throwing, you know, Meek and Usher name and all these other people name in it. So now Act covering the lawsuit. Know what I mean, and then he going over the redacted parts of the lawsuit where they had people names taken out, and they just had descriptions. And one of the descriptions he had was Philadelphia rapper who dated Meek Mill. So he's going over that part and saying, you know, I mean, Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj, and he going over that part, and he basically saying like, yo, they talking about Meek Mill right here. You know what I mean, and he's saying whatever he's saying in the stream about that situation. And because he got a big platform and he already had, you know, the history they had, Meek wasn't feeling him, you know, doing that and covering it the way he did. So Meek started snapping on him and going at him. I mean, and it's crazy because Act said in the stream, I think Act said in the stream was, yo, he talking about, you know, he do satire, try to make it funny. He talking about Meek. Meek better go on an hour Twitter rant and deny this and saying that this is not true. All the Twitter rants he do, he better go on the Twitter rant and say this ain't true and all this, that, and the third. So that's one of the things he was saying in the video. So then what Meek do? Meek go on the Twitter rant, start going in and talking about that, and then, I mean, all these other tweets and stuff about everything else that was going on. Like, so now they got the situation going with Act. Act responding to him, and now Act saying, well, I'm about to start interviewing all these people from the city that you've been blackballing and holding down, that I've been wanting to get on the platform and all this, that, and the third.
I mean, they got to do what to do. I was keeping it light with you. All the niggas who don't like you, who got a story about how you a fuck nigga, now I'm going to interview them all. Thank you. Quilly, come through. Hey, Dean, if you still want to talk, I know I said no, I'm sorry. You could come too. I get the whole Philly up here, nigga. You know the address to the studio too, so you could stand outside and meet me and them, but you won't. So we just gonna stop with your little, you just talking a bunch of shit. Everybody in Philly, listen, your boy Akademiks is here to talk to y'all, man. Okay? This nigga been hating on all of y'all. By the way, let me tell y'all this is a fact.
So now, next thing you know, I mean, a couple of days ago now, Poundside Pop interview drops. Poundside Pop, you know, most of the interview they was talking about Meek, obviously. And he made some comments, obviously, that Meek wasn't feeling. So after Meek watched the interview, like a lot of the people did, I mean, Meek started responding to him on social media. Took those Instagram stories, Twitter, I mean, was going in on him. And then it turned to a whole back and forth. Pop responding, and they going back and forth, like a bunch of different tweets, a bunch of different posts, like they done got into all started talking about each other parents and all this. Like Meek bring up the fact that the boy Bex is his biological dad. I never even knew that, never even heard that. So Meek bringing that information to light, like, man. And Poundside basically saying like, no, he ain't raised me, like Gome raised me, Gome from OBH. He basically saying that. And that's crazy because I did an interview with Pop back in like 2018. So this like, you know, some months or almost a year, you know, after he came out with the hit song OSS. Like I had linked up with him, did an interview with him. This one, Troy Carter was working with Troy Carter Jr. Shout out to him. He had reached out to me and wanted to get Pop on there, so I slid down Pop Hood, like I said, down 25th Street. I mean, did a little interview, and that's one of the questions I asked him. Like, I asked him about his relationship with Gome and all that, and he basically briefly explained that and all that. And I mean, and side story, a little side story. I mean, some time had passed after that interview came out, and he wasn't really feeling that. And I think one of the reasons why was because of that question, that situation with Gome. I mean, I believe he ain't really like either that question, or he ain't like how he ain't want that information out. He ain't really want to talk about that in there. I don't know, maybe it was like a touchy situation. I don't know, like, if I ain't mistaken, but Pop had ended up reaching out to me. I mean, and he pretty much asked me like, "Yo, bro, can you take that John down?" And he reached out to him on Instagram. Like, "Bro, can you take that interview down?" I think he referenced like he ain't like the way it looked, or he don't like the way he looked in that joint or something. Or I think because it was so long ago, I ain't too familiar. I ain't 100% sure on why he wanted it down. I think on one side he ain't really like the way. I think Troy Carter had reached out to me and told me like either he ain't like the way he looked in that joint, he ain't like how it came out for far as how he looked in it, or he wasn't feeling the question about Gone. You know what I mean? One or the other, or it could have been a combination of the two. But whatever case may be, he reached out, asked me to take it down. I took it down, no problem. Anytime somebody don't wonder about, I mean, it ain't that deep to me. Like, if you ain't feeling how it came out, you know what I mean, I ain't got no problem taking that joint down. But I did another little joint with him earlier that year. And I mean, the beginning of the year, Dawood Bey had a Fate of the Tri-State event where he brought out a bunch of the artists that was popping at the time, young artists. He had Rico Havoc, Fat G's, Poundside Pop, Lights, Cameras, and, you know, Lil Nizzy, you know what I mean? A couple other people, AO215, 100 Proof Yanni, this one, Butter Knife was around, Butter Knife King, Wallow hosted it, you know what I mean? So I got a bunch of interviews with a bunch of the artists there, and I got a little joint with Pop there, so I mean, I ain't had no problem with taking the other joint down. Like, I mean, if he wasn't feeling it, but that's what that was. So he did, you know what I mean? Him and Meek was going, like, back to the him and Meek shit. That was a little side story. Him and Meek was going back and forth. I'm saying Meek mentioning his Pop. I mean, and he bringing up Gome in it, and then, I mean, now he going at Meek, talking about Meek, you need to get back for your Pop and all like that. It just got, I mean, that joint just got goofy. Them going back and forth crazy. Like, in the mix of that, like, before the Pop interview came out with Akademiks, Quilly had went live with Slider. I mean, you know, both of them got they well documented history going through with Meek. You know, Quilly shit go way, way back to like headshot days and all that. I mean, and Butter Knife John go back. I mean, not Butter, I said Butter Knife. And Slider issues go back some years. And I mean, not as far as Quilly, but it go back some years. Like, he been throwing shots at Meek for the longest time. You know what I mean, calling him all types of names and stuff like that, doing all types of videos coming at him and all that. And Meek ain't really been entertaining it too much. He responded in one little interview indirectly, but he ain't really been responding too much to Slider, or Quilly for that matter. But, you know, so they had went live, said they little comments about Meek and in the mix with the Diddy stuff and all of that.
He been on that time, bro. If you gonna get with me, you gotta eat ladders. And I ain't talking about Glocks. Pause, no Diddy.
Damn, bro. Diddy been on that time. So wait, they never answered the question. Was that match and set joint a coincidence, John? Like, damn, I'ma just had this shit on it. You know what I mean? Oh shit, you coincidentally got the same lay on. Let's flick it up.
Fendi set. Or what's that show?
And where the midget come from? Why was the midget there?
That midget, I think that midget Pauls. You gotta look him up, bro. That midget ain't cool. He ain't thorough. He ain't no street nigga.
Then, you know, once Poundside, you know, Meek going through the back and forth, you know, Dean jump in and make his comments, and he go live with Poundside, and
he be capping. I don't know, you talking about he never been to jail. Watch people like Pound. Bro, you ain't never been to jail, Pound. He ain't never been to jail. He been to work release, Pound.
Man, niggas had that nigga rapping in jail. Nigga, I heard the stories. Nigga, let's be technical. Nigga told that nigga sit on the wall and rap, nigga.
And that's what was being done until they found out that was my man. And they had to stop.
He's a bitch.
Then, you know, Quilly talking about he trying to go live. He blocked off his page. He making his little comments on his page. Now, I mean, he ain't really go too crazy. Just making little comments and all that. But Dean mentioned that he got an interview coming up with Akademiks on Thursday. Today is Wednesday, so I'm assuming they doing it tomorrow. Then he said that John probably dropped this upcoming Monday. So the situation going to continue on, you know, and then if Quilly end up going up there doing his interview, then, you know, that's just going to escalate it even more. So, I mean, hopefully somehow it could get resolved some type of way where it ain't going to spill over into the streets. We don't need no more. We got enough goofy stuff going on in the city as far as like the streets wise in general. So we don't need no, you know, nobody as big as Meek, like his name and his status and all that. And then, you know, Poundside being an up and coming, I mean, artist, and he got his own situation going. I think he said he signed with Epic, I believe, and he doing his thing. He the new generation. I mean to say up and coming, but you know, the new generation doing this thing. Like, we don't need them diverting from what they trying to do and trying to get into some unnecessary nonsense. And I mean, somebody end up getting hurt, going to jail, and crashing out, throwing their life away for nothing. I mean, like, we don't need no more of that in the city. So hopefully it can get resolved. Even the stuff with him and Dean, like, I mean, this is just goofy. Like, I mean, he posted the video with Dean. I think he said Dean getting shot at or something like that. Like, it's just getting real goofy. Like, I mean, so hopefully y'all let this somebody that's mutual between all parties can intervene, and I mean, like, before it get too out of hand. Like, I mean, I don't see Akademiks not stopping because he got his thing going with Meek now, and he trying to, go at Meek all crazy. So I don't see him saying that he not gonna continue these interviews and putting out this content and stuff. I mean, he just had the other boy up there, Loose Cannon, saying some old goofy stuff. Like, so I don't see it. Like, I don't see him stopping. So hopefully somebody in the city that, you know, got relationships with everybody, because like, it's crazy, man. It's crazy when somebody from the outside can come in and, you know, cause stuff within the city and cause it to spill over into something more serious. Like, it's been too many examples of this, and the narrative of Philly is we can't get along, we always beefing, and somebody from the outside can always come in, somebody in the industry can always come in and stir up drama between us. Like, we could get along with everybody but each other, you know what I mean? Like, just bad narratives, and we just feed into that with this type of situation. Similar to the Drake thing, he threw Meek name, he threw A.R.A.B. name in it. Now A.R.A.B. and Meek going through it, and they teams going through it, and it become a whole little thing. Thank God they was able to squash it, you know what I mean, and get cool and stop. Like, before something escalated to way beyond that. Like, there's been other examples throughout Philly history where, you know, somebody from the industry with a bigger name, bigger platform could cause two people from Philly to go at it. Now, even though Pop and Meek already had the issues and stuff, and Dean and Meek already got the issues and stuff, but Akademiks, his platform, he got a big platform to amplify this and put this out there in front of a lot more people. So it just escalates the situations, to the highest degree. Like, a lot of these situations might could die down and potentially get squashed later on, but once you put them on these big platforms like Akademiks and speak these things, like, it's hard, it just escalates the situation. So unfortunately, so, you know what I mean? So if Dean go up there and they put that interview out, I could see Meek, you know what I mean, going on another tirade responding to that. And if Quilly go up there and say something, like, so who knows, man? Like I said, hopefully it could get resolved without, nothing goofy happening. But that's my thoughts on it. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Thank y'all for tuning in. Like, subscribe, share, like I said in the beginning, if you ain't already tuned in and tapped in. In the meantime, between time, stay tuned to the new content coming soon. Go tap into the older content, past interviews and episodes if you ain't seen none of that. And Philly F.A.M.E TV, we signing out. Till next time, we out here.